Cox out. Yesterday was a busy day because I went to the Kiss show last night, but I had the Cox out pregame yesterday afternoon. Hey, did you hear the Browns won their football game?
I did hear that.
I don't know if anybody's talking about that today, but anywho, and so I was posted up at the Parma Tavern. We got 2 in a row, by the way, because I'm going to be out again this coming Sunday, but we'll be at Around the Corner. We're kind of alternating those venues.
Around the corner from what?
I'm sorry?
Around the corner from what?
Around the corner from whatever's next door to the bike shop. Around the corner from that bike shop.
And they're
in Lakewood.
They're on the same street.
Anyway, so I'm out at the Parma Tavern yesterday, which I haven't been to in a minute. Used to go there pretty regularly when we were still in Oak Tree, go over there for lunch or, get a quick pop or something like that. But it was a lot of fun. But there was one guy who was just blowing my brain up because on the one hand, he walks up to me and asks me if I'm Jeff Kinsbach, who I texted these guys, it's time to shave. This guy asked if I was Jeff Kinsbach. Of course, Jeff and Flash back in the day, legendary WMMS morning show, but they have long since been doing other things. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, I've met Jeff, and I'm almost positive that I'm not him. And so then this guy starts chatting me up about that band Wet Leg. And I'm like, wow, dude, you come at me with Kinsbach and then ask me why we're not playing Wet Leg, who are these 2 girls who kind of blew up with that song. But nobody this guy's age is talking about Wet Leg. And he's proceeded to, I didn't even get the guy's name, proceeded to talk my ear off about him and why we didn't play him. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, this guy, man, he's living his best life.
I like that people think that we decide what music gets played on this station.
Well, I kind of prefaced the conversation with him by saying, mine's a talk show. So I said, I'll come back with music. And I mean, if there's something that kind of scratches my itch, I can kind of, if I wanted to throw in something, I absolutely could. But I said, I don't know how, I have no say nor interest in what happens the rest of the day. I'm responsible for my piece of real estate, and that's where I focus all my efforts. But nice guy, bought him a Bud Light. But other than that, I was like, wow, man, you are really all over the place here. But so cool to see everybody there. Parma Tavern, boy, they do not screw around. So it's nuts to butts in there. And it's townies and it's, people that I don't get to really hang out with all that often. Ricardo, hung out with him a bit. He talks to us pretty frequently. And so it was a nice place. But this coming Sunday, we'll be at Around the Corner. And I will find out, Bill, what around the corner from what.
I mean, I know.
I'll find that out.
I'm just saying for people that don't know.
Yeah, Around the Corner in Lakewood.
That's probably the best.
And I believe I'm there 3 to 5 on Sunday because it's an later afternoon game. But, yeah, so there you go. I told the dude, I said, well, I'll play a little bit of Wet Leg for you tomorrow. I don't know if he's listening, but there it is. Hey, tip one out for the gentleman who's died at the age of 78. You've probably never heard of him, and you probably don't know what he did. But he is in the history books. His name is David Kirk. And he's English.
Kirkland brand. Costco.
Wrong guy.
Jeans and liquor.
He had the great idea of pouring Grey Goose into a giant vat of water and then pouring into another bottle that said Kirkland and selling it at an extreme discount. He is the very first person to ever bungee jump. So it is inconceivable that he died in his bed of natural causes. If you were the first person to bungee jump, it seems more likely that you would have kind of
I think there
might not have worked out so well for you.
There.
Huh?
He's the first person to bungee jump successfully.
Well, they refer to him as the world's first bungee jumper.
I'm sure there's someone that tried it before.
You think so? It didn't work out?
So well, yeah.
He and his friends started a group at Oxford in the 70s called the Dangerous Sports Club. And he jumped from a 240-foot bridge in 1979 wearing a tuxedo and holding a bottle of champagne. Boy, those Brits just do everything classier. They didn't even know what they were doing. And this guy goes, I'm going to wear a tuxedo and hold me a bottle of champagne. So David Kirk, who is in the books as the world's first bungee jumper,
I climbed over the balcony there, or the rails, clutching a top hat with a handkerchief around my face because I didn't want my mother to recognize me. We worked out that that bridge is 240 feet tall. We would need 2 ropes at 120 feet. And then you would fall down and you would surface just above the water.
Right. So here's a guy who really had no idea, he and his friends had no idea that they were creating something. I don't know if, they're like, hey, what if we got 2 giant rubber bands and jumped off a bridge? and then it became something. Because now, out of all the things that I've done in my life, I have no interest in bungee jumping. There's a lot of people, they see that as kind of a lot of people have that on their bucket list. You know, they want to go off a giant bridge. But I have gone ziplining face down across a giant chasm in the mountains of Mexico. I would never go bungee jumping.
What's the difference? Like, is that in the same vein as skydiving, bungee jumping?
Bungee jumping, you're like,
what would you rather do?
I've been skydiving, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. Bungee jumping kind of terrifies me. I know it doesn't happen often. I'm afraid the cord's going to snap.
And it does happen occasionally.
That's what I'm saying.
But it probably happens with the same frequency as a chute that doesn't open,
right.
or which I think is pretty low. Very, very small instances of that happening because they've kind of safety precautioned it within an inch of its life. You know, if you're running a tourist company, you can't have people dying, right? You got to check everything left and right. And, but yeah, I have no interest whatsoever in that. But there are some people who love it. Like,
I would want to try it. I think I would end up trying it at some point in my life. I like doing stuff like that. I like that adrenaline rush. It is scary, but that's part of the fun of it. You know?
It plays into your addictive personality.
Oh, 100%. Anything I can do for that dopamine, baby. Give me it.
Right. So that guy is dead. Now, I would like to know the first person who died bungee jumping. I don't know who that person is. I didn't check it out ahead of time.
This guy's wife.
Huh?
What?
Of course, I lost my newlywed wife. We hadn't been married long, and she was right. She said, right behind you, dear.
She was my test subject.
No, he and his friends did this in college. So I don't know. He probably wasn't married yet. But to have pioneered what became a global, I don't know if you call it a sport, a global
industry.
Yeah, industry.
I mean, my brother did it when he was, I think, in high school. We were in Florida, and my dad had paid to go when he was down there one time, and it was too windy, so they had to give him a rain check, and then we went like another day or something, and my dad had already gone back to work, so my brother went, and he loved it. It's one of those videos that we had that we'd show people in the 90s. He'd be like, you got to see Don bungee jump. It's the craziest thing. And he was just clapping and like hollering like an idiot. He loved it. So I can see why people enjoy it. Not my thing, but yeah.
The first U.S. bungee jumping fatality was in 1991. End of October 1991, a guy named Hal Irish, who was 29, is a bungee jumping instructor. And he died bungee jumping from a hot air balloon.
Well, those who can't do, teach.
Right. He became detached from his cord during a demonstration. Imagine that. You're showing people, okay, here's what you're going to do, and you die. You're the guy piloting the balloon. You go, I'm just going to take you guys down. Since none of you want to do this anymore, he plunged more than 70 feet to his death. But this started as something called land diving, which in kind of some tribal communities around the world was a rite of passage. Young boys would jump off a cliff. They would be tethered to something. But this guy, 29 years old, died in 1991. There's simply no way to know how old he would be had he lived. But they said there's no equipment failure. It just was bad luck. And they said, but bungee jumping isn't regulated by the FAA, right? Like hot air balloons are regulated by the Federal Aviation Administration. Bungee jumping is not. If people want to do it, that's their business. Everything else, the hot air balloons, obviously the skydiving, that's all right. They go bungee jumping, that's the Wild West, at least in 91.
I would do bungee jumping or skydiving before I'd ever go up in a hot air balloon. Hot air balloons.
Oh, I've been up in a couple hot air balloons.
I went up in one when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it was like they had it tied to a van.
Ah.
And they were like, oh, this should be, because it was like, it was after we did our fundraiser drive for our school. And that was one of the prizes. You get to go up 50 feet in a hot air balloon, and then they bring you back down.
50 feet.
Yeah, they had it tied to this van. And it was supposed to be like, you go up, you go down. It's supposed to be cool. But it was lifting the van off the ground. And they're like, oh, we didn't really think of the safety aspects of this because it was so windy. They're like, yeah, this is not really a day for it. So they shut it down.
You need a tank to sit there. See if they can lift that. But I need some type of governing body for activities like that, like FAA or whatever. Bungee jumping, like I don't want to find a guy that's just trying to cut corners, like the people that got into that sea thing. What is it that went down to see the Titanic?
Ocean Gate.
Yeah, like people like that who just try to cut corners are like, oh, well, the other guy's charging this. I can charge this. You get a discounted rate. I don't want a discounted rate on bungee jumping.
Well, no, but I mean, but things like bungee jumping, hot air balloons, those are things that are widely available to the regular tourism paying public. The sea thing was like a bill for bored rich people.
But there is a governing body for that. That's what the guy was saying. Like this guy cut corners. All the other people who do these submersibles,
right?
They don't have any problems. But this guy was like, oh, well, mine is built in my garage, and he just soldered all the stuff together by himself.
He wanted a quantity over quality as far as taking people down there.
You know.
Yeah.
If I can't sue, I need somebody else to be able to sue on my behalf because that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
I don't want a Groupon submersible.
People are suggesting that guy probably wore a tuxedo, so it'd be an easy burial in case things went wrong. That's probably right. Went down. If this doesn't work, the indignance of youth. This doesn't work. I want to leave good-looking corpse.
I think it would just be badass. Like bungee jumping, I don't get no satisfaction out of. But jumping out of an airplane with like a cool parachute, you get to do it like James Bond style.
What is a cool parachute?
Like I don't know. You just have like a cool looking parachute. You can have it military style. You get to choose the color and stuff, right?
I don't think so.
No, they hand you a packed parachute, and they go here.
But you can. But
and you're not like James Bond. You're tandem with an instructor.
That's not necessarily. You can train to pull the.
Yeah, eventually.
Yes, right.
I'm saying if you want it to, they can train you and you can do that. I think that's badass.
Now, I had no problem as a younger man wearing parachute pants.
No, you didn't.
Of course, those were very popular. Zippers all over. And people keep saying that they're back. Of course, they're not. Can't bring those back.
Are bell bottoms back?
They keep trying to bring bell bottoms back. They try to kind of cheat it with flares. Of course, Mary likes flares.
Love a flare.
But every 5 or 6 years, they go, bell bottoms are back. And then the culture is quickly reminded that they sucked the first time around.
No.
So they're not going to. Flares are different than bell bottoms.
Yes.
Flares are just like a tiny little bell. Bell bottoms are like a giant, let's say a taco bell. A giant one.
After 31 years of life, I found out why girl shoes are so damn, like the sole of the shoe is so damn tall.
Girl shoes? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was shopping with one of my girlfriends over the weekend, and we stopped at the store, and she was looking at shoes. I was like, why is like the bottom sole so it's like an inch, 2 inches high, and it makes the shoes look like, I don't know, like clogging shoes. And she was like, it's so the pants don't, like the bottom of your pants don't rub on the floor. I said, oh.
I don't know about that. Chunky shoes are just in right now. Like the platform sneakers.
That's just a style.
Is that what you're talking about?
Thank you. Yeah, I just thought it, because it was like, it would be cute, but it's so ugly. They're just so thick at the bottom. And she was like, yeah, so that's
just like a throwback, because that was
rises a bit.
90s, like late 90s, early 2000s. Those got really popular because of Doc Martens and stuff like that.
Like cartoon shoes.
Yeah, and they just get thicker and thicker soles.
And it's not just
look for some people.
It's not just women with the chunky shoes. I saw these two guys last night. They had on these giant dragon boots, and their faces were painted, and they were singing all these. I'm sorry,
they've been wearing those for a long time.
They were singing all these songs, and I was like,
were they singing? Kind of look lip synced.
They were singing because it was. Yeah, that's the other thing with Kiss is they've had, all those kind
Well,
of.
it sounds like there's a backing track or something.
Well, I don't know. They've had to fight those rumors, but again, there's not a lot of heavy lifting there, and Paul Stanley sounded pretty fried. So when he was singing, I think if there was a backing track, might have been a lot cleaner. Maybe they had a little bit of a cushion in there for the music. Maybe.
I think more for the music. I don't. Yeah,
Gene Simmons is pointing at the camera a lot. He's mugging for the camera the whole time, and half the time he's pointing, which means his one hand is not on his bass. And that guy's not Geddy Lee. There's not a lot of, you could pick up a bass right now and play most Kiss songs.
And they were just.
I did meet Ray from West Berea Beach, by the way. So
Hey.
I was gonna run into him. Speaking of Poundcake's 31 years of life, I also wanted to throw one out for Bobby of Portugal, who was the world's oldest dog, and he has died at 31. Longest ever living dog.
Wow.
Was, I didn't even know what kind of dog he was. He lived to 31 years and 165 days old.
Damn, that's an old dog.
That's an old dog.
How many
Lived his
years of
entire-
dog years?
There's no way to know. He's lived his entire life in the village of Conqueros.
217 years old.
Wow, this
That's an old-ass
dog.
dog.
Man.
How do you measure dog years?
I mean, the basic people say 7 years.
But why?
Because dogs are little.
Yeah.
I would say they,
Except it's
but
not
they don't have
7.
any-
Like when you're at the vet, they have the chart.
Yeah, there's like an actual formula for
they're
it.
like first couple of years is 7, then it goes to 5, and the last couple are 3, and you're like, okay, why do I care with the alternate age of my dog? I know how long I've had my dog, and it's not like my dog can tell time.
I would say they should live a nice long life.
I
They
think
ain't
my
got no
dog can.
stressors. They don't pay no bills. They just get on you, cuddle, and lick you. Like what do they do? Why can't you live a long life?
My dog knows when I'm supposed to be getting home. Like she can't tell time, but she knows what time it is.
Peanut butter jelly time.
You think she can smell you coming up the stairs or coming up the elevator?
Boy, I hope not.
I mean, she can hear the elevator, and then I think when we're in the elevator, she can smell if Grandma's been in it because she gets really excited. So
If Grandma's
she's-
been in the elevator.
yeah, if Grandma's like just in the elevator before we were, she gets really excited because she's like, that lady, she was here.
I know her.
I think I'm gonna be a dog gay eventually.
What the hell does that mean?
A dog gay, like a gay.
Let me
Get
repeat
it on.
myself. What the hell does that mean?
She's be a gay dog.
No, you just have
Gay for dogs?
you're gay and you have a dog, and it's like a cute.
Those are
little
called dog gays, not just gay guys with dogs?
Well, there's cat gays. I think.
Well, they're called lesbians. They already have their own name.
Now I just feel like there's a certain type of gay that has a dog, and your dog it almost kind of resembles you, because there's a guy that I know, he's gay, and his dog looks a lot like him. Same, I'm just
I
saying.
say that a lot about people, that people start to look like their dogs, and I think that's I think there's a Mandela effect quality to that. I don't think most people look like their animals.
I don't know.
Yeah, I want to say you and Juno look alike. Just like I don't think Whoopsie and I really look alike.
Well, then you'll be a dog gay.
What type of dog should I get? Something small.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to let you ruminate on that. I got to take a break. I'll have another $1,000 for you on the way at 3:30. Listen for those keywords. You get one every hour, and it's $1,000 that somebody does win, so might as well be you, courtesy of the Buzzard bookie. If you want to go see Ancient Aliens live, you watch a show on the History Channel, they are going on the road, and they're coming to MGM Northfield Park next week. They're going to be here on the 2nd of November, so I'll hand those tickets off coming back.